Thank you. Would like to call the July 10th regular council meeting of Harrington to order. Beginning of 7.
Keep going. I'll fix it.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to have roll call. You don't have to call out, you can point out that all are here except for Janice, who has an excused absence. We have no audience in the gallery to recognize. I'd like to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chris has the best chair.
Yeah, I told you weeks ago about this chair.
You did, maybe. I might have been so excited about these padded folding chairs, I didn't remember.
Well, do you need any more padding? I mean, do you
No.
want a heavier one?
No, I'm good now.
Okay.
Well, press on.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it's green. I don't know. All right. Comments. So do we have any additions for our agenda tonight?
Yeah, I want to talk about credit cards for a second.
Okay.
And I've got a little information on water meters,
I think
if we want to talk about.
we actually have you in here.
On your own agenda. Oh, great, okay.
So,
Well, also, along with that, I learned from the guy in Odessa, Gerald, they get a lot of their equipment, their vehicles and everything, from a public service auction out of Chumwater. I've never heard of Chumwater. That sounds like something you get bait sharks with, so. Must be Tumwater,
okay.
anyway.
So we'll talk about,
Yeah.
we'll talk about vehicles then. Okay. Dave, anything?
Not really, one thing I'd like to discuss is the parking around the city. Vehicles parking over the sidewalks.
Okay, certainly.
I had nothing.
Okay.
I might come up with something later on.
When I think of it,
If I do think of it, yeah.
Okay, that's fixed.
All right. Even though I sent out an email, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a water update so anybody that's watching can get that also. The new pump and motor went into the water today, so it's installed.
Excellent.
We're required to have it sanitized, so there's a sanitary solution. I don't know exactly what it is made of, but it's sitting in there right now, and it has to soak effectively until tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning around 7 or 8 o'clock, Andy Halmy will be here with Devin, who is our water operator. They will purge all the sanitary system out of all this solution out, and then they will then Devin will be able to get a sample. With that sample, it'll go straight to Anatech for another 24-hour bacteria test. So that'll take us to Friday morning, probably Friday mid-morning. Assuming that comes out clean, I mean, want to say assuming, we are going to get the pump running, pressurize the system. We're probably gonna watch it for an hour or two, and we'll look around the city to make sure we're not blowing the manhole covers off of something. And then I will be at my other job, so I'll have somebody post on Facebook and to the public that, assuming we can do it, we can lift the restrictions at that time, so.
Currently, I was just curious, is it normal to have kind of the milky colored water?
No.
Well, normal in terms of since last fall, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I mean, because I do, my wife is kind of freaked out about it.
So that milkiness is air.
Yeah, that's what I kept telling, it's error, okay.
So, and that is
And if you let a glass of water settle,
It'll go away.
within a couple of seconds, but it is a little freaky to see it coming out that way, yeah. It's air. It is an indication that that well is drawing down a little bit.
Mhm.
They think at the engineering level that there's a check valve in the system that isn't closing all the way.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's letting a little bit of air
Sucking
bleed
air.
into it, yeah. So, I've gotten super excited about it as much as we've been watching the pump. We've also been watching the levels. They've come down in well number one. The overall water table level has come down about 2 feet since we started down this path.
Mhm.
But it's just like maybe half an inch a day type of thing. So it's been getting checked regularly. So we still have plenty of water. But yeah, every time the water table goes down a little bit, that valve starts sucking a little air. So,
How are we doing on the tank level, or what we know of it? Are we still, have we caught it shut off at all?
every time I looked today, it was running, which I'm not surprised with this heat. I'm sure there was a little bit more usage than we're used to, but it has been getting breaks. I can't remember, sometime over the weekend, or I think Friday last week, when I went in there, in the middle of the day, it was off. So, that was nice. But it's definitely working, so this can't be coming too soon. So hopefully in the next 36 hours, we have a resolution to this.
Question. What does bake mean? You say.
It's the term that they use. It's basically where the chemicals are just going in and they're getting into the solution, the sanitary mix is getting into the metal and all the rest of it, just
Okay.
making sure it's baking out all the impurities.
Okay.
So,
Got
I
it.
saw it, that those pipes are about as clean as you could ever see, but, you know, all it takes is a fingerprint with something on it, so we're just gonna make sure.
Okay.
All right, so that's where we're at. Stay tuned.
Do you want to say what we found, you and I?
Certainly. Go ahead.
So I had been kind of insistent that I think we should do something to examine the hole. And some people had said, well, it doesn't matter because it's a submersible pump and stuff. And I said, well, you know, when they mount this thing and they put it on, we're going to get zero access to look at the status of this hole without pulling the whole thing out. So couldn't seem to get anyone to take us seriously to want to scope it. But I was talking with Joe and I said, can we at least plumb it? So Joe bought some materials and we stuck a plumb line down it. And we're operating under the knowledge that it was supposed to be 300 feet and we got to 200 feet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This pump is hung at 100 feet, so it's not necessarily a problem, but this is the kind of thing I was curious about. there's a couple ways you could explain this. The bottom 100 feet collapsed or something, or we were under the incorrect assumption that it was drilled to 300 feet in the first place and it was actually 200 feet. There was some records error, maybe. Like, there's a couple different ways to explain what happened to the bottom 100 feet. But now, for future councils and whatever, we can know that if the water table or something draws down and they say, well, we'll just drop it another 100 feet because it's a 300-foot well, that might be a problem. Probably will be, because we danced that plumb bob around a little bit, and it seemed to be the bottom of the hole.
What was the static level? Did you,
Like, where's the water sitting at right now?
Yeah,
30 feet.
30 feet from the top?
Yes. Yeah. We made a point of making that measurement too. So, yeah, it could have collapsed. I understand that there's a lot of wells that get dug and they never stay true. They have a tendency to go off in a different direction and curve, so that could be part of it also.
100 feet.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot.
I was not super aggressive about like going corner to corner to try and
Yeah.
find, because I was like, this has to come back up, so.
Yeah.
Well, did anybody check the county records?
It's actually part of the state records, and I've got it in my computer. I can check it, and I can let you guys know if you want what the spec is as far as the records are for that.
Yeah.
What they said it was drilled, because if there's a missing 100 feet, something,
I'm sure we got charged for 300 feet, but then we drilled at 200.
you know?
Yeah, I'd be curious, I'm curious.
Okay, I can get that to you.
Do they have their wells mixed up?
The records that I saw look pretty in line with, because I looked at both of them. When this whole thing started, I was, going in there. I can't even send you the link. It's public knowledge. So,
Well, usually the drillers in the, I guess, Department of Health or whatever, and so on and so forth, they usually keep pretty accurate records. Want to know that information. So that's what's kind of weird. It was-
just seeing if I had it here real quick. I don't. So, okay. Well,
Good news is it's not likely to make this council or anyone on it any difference in the near term. It shouldn't affect the production of the well, most likely.
Did we get it? Well, probably be later. Total cost, we don't know yet, right? All that. That'll be next.
well, we got the initial estimate, which was just north of $50,000.
Right, I saw that.
Okay.
But
I
know-
didn't hear of any
Add-ons?
issues or add-ons, but I mean, there could have been stuff that I mean, when he showed up, it was ready to go, and I didn't see him fighting with having to make adjustments or change anything. But I don't know what happened in the shop behind the scene.
I saw some of the pictures that somebody took of the pipe. Well,
The old one.
yeah, it's quite beat up. Did they have a time pulling that, or?
I wasn't here. I don't
Oh.
know. It sounded like it came out pretty easy.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm glad we went the route we did, because that was nothing to get excited about, thinking that was gonna last another 40 years.
Do they guarantee this pump for another 40?
I don't have all the specs yet, but that's the expectation. And I don't know, but he's gonna get me the manufacturer, who made the pump, who's the manufacturer of the pump, who's the manufacturer of the motor, what the actual true output is. I'll be getting all that spec for our file.
Right, okay.
Okay, any other questions on that? All right. Budget discussion. We have entered budget season
Yay.
for the next 6 months. There is actually a calendar and specific points in time that we're supposed to have different things done, and I will get that out to each and every one of you so you guys know. I would love it if we are not having a December 29th approval of our budget this year. So, that's largely on me, but what I'd like is to know is, within our budget and for 2025, is there anything specific that the council wants to be considered that we may spend money on that we don't normally? Now, I will tell you where my agenda item is to get back to putting money in our reserves. Especially considering this year we've done a pretty big job of depleting some of them with water pipe replacements and what have you. I want to be more aggressive about maintaining and or replacing some of our equipment. We've got, there's some ideas out there from our public works people to replace, or in addition to the backhoe, to get a Mini X. If they have that, there's some jobs that we can do with our public works people instead of having to hire them out to a contractor, which at the end of the day is a savings. Our vac truck, I don't think we can put enough money into it to make it operational to the standard that we need. We have, there are other options out there, including basically the same thing, but it is a trailer mounted vacuum system with a pressure washer and what have you. And they're not, used ones are not horrifically expensive for what they use it for. So those are some of the things. Meters, water meters, is going to be a big part of next year. So that's some of the stuff that I want to look at getting addressed. But if there's something that you guys want to see, and if you don't have it tonight, that's fine, but keep it in the back of your mind that when we build this budget, we need to build in what we may be spending money on next year in 2025.
Yep.
Any ideas, comments?
What are your intentions towards the Public Works Board funding?
Oh, I'm gonna get as much funded as I can. There's actually a grant that's due on September 1st that we might be able to get our water meters funded with.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the concern that I'm getting at is thus far what I've heard is that the Public Works Board funding will mostly be a loan. And so I guess if there would be the intention of the council to heavily pursue the Public Works Board funding, I guess my thought would be that dominates all of their budget priorities.
yeah, I'm not real interested in taking on more debt. So,
I would agree. Yeah.
so that's, I mean, as far as budget, I think borrowing money to balance your budget is a poor business decision. So, anyway, that's, so, I mean, sometimes we're gonna have to borrow money just because the job's bigger than we can ever get our hands on, but we can be very selective on how far we take that. Anything else?
Not right now.
Okay. Well, with that, I'm hoping that you have some awesome information for us for
Well, I was hoping to get to talk to this representative in Spokane, but he has not called me back yet. I've got the message into him, but this is the guy that he works for. Is it Emerson? I think it's Emerson.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and in Spokane, and they've got the water meters, and the one that they use in Odessa is called the iPearl Census, and I was looking at it online. And Gerald from Odessa seems to think they're about $1,300 a piece.
The meters are?
Yeah, but see, then I look online here, and they're not that much. So I don't know if it's one of those things. That's why I want to talk to this guy. If you buy them in bulk of 10 or 20 or something like that, you get a discount, or if they're even that much to begin with. But yeah,
And then that can work in a system that
Well-
Stephen was talking about, that we want to make sure.
well,
is-
I do know. Well, I know that Odessa had the same kind of old meters like we've got. So as far as hooking them up and getting them to work, that was pretty easy, as long as you can get to them. Like
Right.
there's some, like my neighbors, is
Yeah.
pretty hard to get to. But since he doesn't do the actual meter reading or anything like that, he didn't know that much about the software. So I know that's a big concern. Yeah, you know, I would hope that it's something that, you know, you can update or you know, keep current, so you don't have to write code or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sound like the software that we have to pay him a fee?
See, I don't know that, because I haven't got to talk to the guy yet. These are all the questions that I'm hoping to have answered, or he can send me a whole pamphlet of information.
Yeah, and I posed a similar question from the other direction to Springbrook. What systems do they know automatically talk to their system?
Mhm.
So, because that would be nice to not have to. It's one thing to be able to read them, but if you can interface that
Yeah.
and not have to manually go in. I mean, we've got 250 meters in the town. I mean, it's not a horrific task, but it'd be nice to just plug in whatever your reader is into the computer, and Springbrook just pulls the data.
And they said,
What's that?
and they said.
I haven't gotten a response yet.
Hmm.
I'm sure there'll be a fee every year added on to that.
Always is.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
guessing.
it's just, we don't know until we know. So, you know, is it worth it? Maybe, maybe not.
Do they have, this may be dated, maybe they're outdated or whatever, but I know Spokane City or County, both, had, on top of the manhole and stuff, you could do it the same way with regular water meters, but anyways, it was just a thing in a wand, they just walked over and read it, and that was it.
And I know the
But-
ones where literally they have like our current Avista power meters, where they don't have to come out, they can just flip a switch, push a button, and they get all the information over the air. That's gotta be an expensive machine, and
Well, we pay for that. Whoever uses
I'm-
power.
my personal opinion is, I still think there are people out there that will be happy to walk around and read the meters, either through a wand or through getting close enough to scan it. I mean, we're in a small enough town that it still makes sense to do it that way.
You take, I believe, Mr. Mayor, that within the last year, I know Reardon has updated their stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the gal up there, I can't remember her name, the clerk was saying that, I believe it was around, they made 10 or 12,000, I could be off on that, is the fee. They didn't make it, but they say they get it back, but the company, to put that in, they charge them about $12,000 a year for that ability or that privilege or convenience of their reading meters. Now, they claim they make it back, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know I can't remember what the rates were. Imagine they are, but whatever we gotta do, I'm sure it's gonna be another draw on the city.
Yeah, well, I mean, software this day and age is always going to be on a subscription basis.
But I guess where I'm going with that, we would have to pass that on. And the consumers here, the citizens, I don't know if they're ready for that, is the unfortunate part.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really not, yeah, it's nice, you can sit in an air-conditioned office and push a button and then zap, everything's there. But it comes with a cost, and I mean, everything gets passed on. I mean, already now, everybody's getting hit with, inflation and costs, and where's it gonna stop? So, yes, the convenience would be nice, but that's something we gotta consider, because
Well,
there will be a cost to it.
Here's a reality. We need right now probably about 30 water meters
30,
to replace most of them. Some of them are going to need more than a meter. There are locations in this town that don't even have a meter to the property, never have.
or it's not, or
And
can't
need
find
to
it.
have them. We have a number of them that are still in, the water meter is within their house.
Yes,
And
that needs to change.
we need to pull those out to the street, and that's a whole new riser and head mechanism. So that was my ulterior motive for this conversation, is if we had a direction that we could act on pretty quickly, then I was thinking, if we're gonna buy meters, we might as well buy the new version. I've seen our current water meters listed in places for about $100 a piece.
Yeah.
Full manual, you just, you have to clean and read them. I'm inclined to probably, because I don't really want to keep waiting to get that done, so I'm probably inclined to buy at least 4 or 6 of them right away, because there's some that I know should be being read and they're not even running. We have ones that are broken, so every time they try to use them, they leak. So, and other ones that are actively leaking because the housings are cracked. So,
Well, it behooves us to do that or do something, because the requirements of the state, we're accountable for
exactly,
everything.
yeah.
And if we move forward on our rate adjustments and so forth, like we've talked in the last couple of meetings, restructuring that to be more pleasant, I guess.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a budget item. Like I said, I honestly didn't know, what we were looking at. I knew it wasn't gonna be $100 for one with
Yeah.
telemetry, but
I'm hoping they're not $1,300.
yeah, $1,300 or even half of that would be a little bit too rich for my blood.
And you said we may be able to get some funding for these?
I think that's what we should do, is if we can get funding for it, a grant, not a loan, then we can take this conversation in a different direction. And if we have to spend $100 for water meters right now, then so be it. I think one of them in particular, it'll probably pay for itself in 2 months. So,
Well,
so
Do you-
anyway.
just, I don't know if you were on council yet, you may have. In the Memorial Hall, we had that guy come down and give that demonstration. Do you remember how much the fee was for that?
I don't remember him putting a number on it. He implied that there was going to be a software fee.
Right.
And then on top of that, if you wanted to do automated read, he said you'd put something on top of the water tower for a receiver, because the Avista meters are read based upon devices that they've put on the poles. So that's where the Vista's receiver is on their own equipment.
Okay.
If we were to have something similar, we would need to have a place to have our own receiver, and the only city-owned property that's that high is the water tower. So, a separate question that actually has a couple implications. Were we seeing power when we found the control wire? Is there power at is there a Vista meter up at the tower?
There's power.
There should be.
There should be. Yeah, because that sensor that I was telling you about had lights on in it.
Unless it's getting powered from down here.
Yeah,
Because
well, unless
it's
it's being powered through that 40-year-old wire.
Mhm. Yeah. But so to get back on the topic and why I moved off on that, to potentially make that happen, you might need to have need to install an Avista service at the tower. You would need to have a network communication at the tower to be able to transmit that data that it would receive somewhere. And then you'd need to install all the receiver software and then pay them for the privilege to be able to use all of it. So the automated reading system, I think, is, personally, I would say, is way beyond our capabilities.
And we don't necessarily need it. Now, if we suddenly had 1,000 households in this town,
Right.
then
I imagine there's probably some aspects that, just the simple fact that we can start reading meters at the current rates would definitely offset some of that.
I
Is
have
that
to
what you're
believe so.
figuring a little
Yeah,
bit?
that's what I'm assuming, yeah. So I'll plan on buying a select number of current water meter systems, and when and if we can get the funding for it, we will have a different discussion.
Everywhere I look online, it says they're like about $250.
See, that then is like, wait a minute.
But again, how you read them and
Well, they're
all
probably
that
1,300
stuff.
with the software stuff.
Well, that's, yeah, I don't know. Again, I mean, that's information I could get from this guy, but
Well, you did a good job.
Well, if you can, keep exploring it.
oh yeah, I will.
And we'll
I-
just we'll keep on replacing the meters as we can.
Here's a used one for $100 on eBay.
We'll take 200.
Yeah. So, okay, any other discussion on that part? Okay. Additions to the agenda. Who wants to go first? Stephen, you had credit cards?
Yeah, I continue, and take this with a grain of salt because I'm not the clerk, so my frustrations don't mean as much as hers would be in this situation. But I continue to be frustrated with some aspects of our credit card situation.
Our usage of or ability to
No,
collect from?
right. Sorry, I should be more specific. The credit cards that we have and what they do for us, the outgoing funds, not incoming funds.
Okay.
I believe I didn't see it specifically on claims, but at some point here there's going to be a reimbursement because our password management solution would not take our credit card, despite 3 or 4 attempts of Donna and I trying to get Wheatland to approve it. It kept rejecting it no matter what we did. And then now I need to add some funds for our phone system, which, just as a aside to check in on that, I added about $100 8 months ago or something like that. And we're down to 5 or 6. For context, we used to be paying CenturyLink over $160 a month. So, and we have a lot more functionality, like 3 lines and all this fun stuff. So we're getting quite a bit of bang for our buck, but again, I tried to put more funds on it because it's a prepaid thing, and it just kept rejecting the card. So I might need to do it from my personal credit card and submit the invoice again, but I don't like doing reimbursements I don't personally have a problem with it, but I don't think it looks great for councilmen and mayors and stuff to be getting paid with checks any more than we have to. So I would like to continue to explore more solutions. I put out a few more feelers. I had done a tour of banks before, and I couldn't get any of them to do anything for us. I should probably also reach out to Wheatland again, because now they're Glacier Bank, and maybe their credit card offerings, maybe there's some new things. So I'll re-sync up with Wheatland. But this also comes into the ability to create digital credit cards, ones that are locked, like so that we could say, well, the library has a credit card that has a such and such a credit limit, and they can only spend it at these retailers. Or credit cards that would allow us to get a certain percentage back. Again, one thing that I cited is that Avista allows you to pay your bill on a credit card for no fee, and when you're paying $7,000 a month to Avista, that's some coin that I'd like to see us get a little bit of a taste of. So, anyways, it's really more just a heads up, or speak now if you have a problem with that direction. But I really think we can do better than what we currently have for the Wheatland credit card, because it's just frustrating on so many levels.
Okay. I'm in favor of continuing to explore. I mean, ease of use is as important as saving money. So.
And to be clear, this would never get rid of the Wheatland credit card. It just means that we could acquire a better option that we would potentially stop using it. It would always be there for a fallback for us.
Okay. Any other discussion on that topic?
You guys got a handle him. I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Using the Washington State surplus for vehicles. You had some ideas?
So, again, this is from Gerald in Odessa. And he says where they get a lot of their equipment for the city there, including vehicles, tools, things like that. It's a public service auction out of Tumwater, I believe, not Chumwater. And what he does is he sets himself up as a priority buyer. I guess it's a pretty simple process. But anyway, he says that's where they get their stuff. And they get a lot of really good deals, stuff that's in really good shape.
Yeah.
So it might be somewhere to explore to get equipment and.
I do cruise their site, but the vehicles tend to show up. Well, let's put it this way: I haven't seen the vehicles shown up that we would use.
Okay.
Lots of office equipment, kitchen equipment. Some stuff you're just like, why does the state own that?
Yeah.
It's like playground equipment. No. But anyway, I actually think I've already got the paperwork. I haven't submitted it to be one of the municipalities
Priority.
that put stuff into that, so that we can get surplus.
Like a fire truck?
Like a fire truck or a radar gun.
Is that any connection with GSA?
I don't know that.
The state's different than the GSA, but
Okay.
it's quite similar.
'Cause they're-
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, I'll revisit that, get that up to date, and then let you know where we sit with that. Because it is a source, and sometimes the stuff goes away. The trick with it is, and it's not just there, they've actually got a depot, a state depot in Medical Lake also. Or it's Medical Lake or Cheney, but someplace out here. After you buy it, you gotta go get it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so we'd have to send somebody over to, not Chumwater.
What's that plate auction plate, like a depot or whatever they've got there in Airway Heights, and it says open to the public? Is that the same kind of thing?
No, that's a company that is offloading. Boeing used to have, now they do their own, but that kind of thing where you've got a large corporation that's offloading.
Oh, okay.
Do they do multiple companies and different, take it
I
in?
think they do, yeah. They're just an auctioneer company.
On the north side of the road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was happened to be driving past an Avista service van yesterday, and I started looking at it, and it dawned on me that it is exactly the same age, year, and configuration of our Public Works vehicle. So I have a sneaking suspicion I know where our Public Works vehicle came from. So,
Well, I know that, I don't know exactly where the Department of Transportation, state, because they used to just lease a lot of their vehicles. I don't know about all their equipment, I imagine all of it, they've went through some changes, but I'm not 100%. I don't know what happens to those after they're done with them, after their auction.
I would say if they
I'm trying to find-
release the leasing company when it's past its due, they probably send it off to the auction, wholesale auction.
Because you see municipalities and stuff running around that lime green, old state vehicles and equipment.
Well, that's probably through GSA, since that's Forest Service.
Well, you get a lot of military.
Okay, yeah.
And the military stuff, really, the stuff I've looked at is not bad at all.
No.
They just get rid of it because it's 10 years old. It could be brand new sitting there.
Mhm.
And that's what's just amazing.
Yeah.
So that's why I mentioned GSA on that. But the bad thing about that, though, you could be going down to Arkansas or Texas and California and Washington over here at
You get a vac truck with 1,000 hours on it for 10 grand.
Never gonna get to live that one down.
I'll fly it to Arkansas to drive it back.
Well, yeah. But the problem is, some of these guys buy it and then they resell them and for a heck of a profit, so we gotta get in on the ground floor.
Right, on the front
And they
side.
usually give municipalities or agencies a first crack. They gotta
And I
find
think
out.
that's what that priority
Yeah.
deal is. You're looking at a list before it's released to the general public.
Right.
So. Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay,
Well, sounds good.
parking, David?
I just for everybody, driving around town, and I've seen the parking's getting a little sloppy out there. There's on Sherlock and Fourth, between apartments, okay? A vehicle parked that's completely blocking the sidewalk, backed into it parked.
Okay.
Just the tail end of it. I mainly just remind the citizens of the town to be mindful of that and respectful is all. And,
There's another location where there's a car being worked on
yeah, there's numerous.
over the
ones.
top of a sidewalk for a long time.
I know we have ordinances that are still valid that limit how many vehicles in front of a house or residence, but would kind of that's pretty lackadaisical here. I drive by it every day and I go, probably not a big thing, but it is, especially in apartments.
Yeah.
But that's not the only one, but just people use their common sense around here.
I'll try to bring more attention to that. I can tell you in the past week, we had one vehicle, the owner came and got it moved. They're on Fifth.
Oh, the one at Willis, Fifth and Willis? Okay.
There's another truck that has,
Taking its place.
no, and I don't have the report in front of me, but it was abandoned.
Just
Yeah.
doesn't belong to the city, right? this
It
time?
actually has no registered owner. None, according to the police research.
Is it, do you share where it was parked?
It's on the report, I don't have it in front of me,
Oh.
but,
No,
So,
not
it's
stolen
just-
or anything.
no plates on it, no nothing, so they
No
ran the
VIN?
VIN.
No VIN?
And That's got the VIN, but the VIN shows it's not registered to anybody in Washington State. So I asked around and says, how is that possible? And they pointed out that, sometimes a vehicle comes in from out of state, plates are pulled, and because we don't have a reciprocity agreement with them,
Yeah.
from whatever state that it may be, unless it's stolen, we'll never know where it was, and we don't have a reciprocal agreement, so we don't get any information.
How good a shape is it?
I have no idea. I haven't even gotten.
Is it a new public works rig? That's-
To be explored.
No, I mean, the damnedest things happen around here. No, I'm not looking to bust it, raise heck with anybody or make a big stink, but just people try to tidy up a little bit.
People
That's
park
all.
on the wrong side of the street too.
Yeah, I know, and that, there is an RCW about that, the cops, if they would want to, they could give a ticket for that.
So I'll talk about a little bit about that later.
That's
Okay,
all I have to
well,
say about that.
Okay, I'll try to write up something, and I'm trying to work on some other solutions for the codes overall, so,
Yeah, people be respectful and we won't have no problems.
exactly. All right, any further discussion on that? Okay, let's get through the meat and potatoes. Have you guys had a chance to read the minutes of the June 26th council meeting?
Move to approve.
Second.
First and a second to approve the June 26th council minutes. Further discussion. Okay.
So far, I haven't picked up anything.
Okay, if we have no further discussion, all approve.
Ring ring.
It's my phone.
Oh.
That's Janice.
Okay.
No, it's not
If we have no further all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
And
4-0.
4-0. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our check register to observe and sign.
It's payroll. The other one is the check.
Okay. And they need this needs to be signed?
On payroll, looking for.
Okay, check register to observe, this is what has already been approved,
Uh-huh.
so. Any questions or discussion?
Emerald Creek, that's the new people.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, looks like we already,
Okay. Approve the, next on the agenda is approve the payroll report for June. You guys have had a chance to do the signature on this document?
6/1 to 6/30.
Correct.
Move to approve.
Second.
Go ahead.
Oh, you
Seconded
can-
by
You can take
Ritz
it.
No, it's okay.
You're gonna turn me into a Levi here pretty soon.
Okay, any further discussion on the payroll?
Is, number 528, Kaylee Tingle, is that the,
She read the water meters for the first go-around.
okay. And now I take it Charles is
Yeah, Kate has taken that role.
full-time, okay.
Yeah,
Just some new names there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Kaylee wasn't able to continue.
Okay, yeah.
Kate is the pastor of the Presbyterian Church.
Nazarene?
Or Nazarene,
Yeah.
excuse me, yeah. Nazarene Church.
Okay.
Personally, I think we're paying him to get his steps.
Yeah, he's been walking, he's pulled off a lot of weight.
Okay. Internal Revenue Service, yep. Okay, fine. I'm good.
Okay.
with that.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor of approving the payroll, signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Pass that around for signatures. Okay, approve the new claims. Which, if you need.
I have it.
You need one to sign, but
Oh,
you need to-
is that the one you want to sign over there?
No, just pick one and start with it when it's approved. So, do we have a motion to approve the claims?
So moved.
second. You're a stinker.
Okay. Claims have been first and seconded. Any discussion?
Hydro seeding.
Yes, that will be a pass-through. So, part of our water emergency was to have hydro seeding, or I'm sorry, the water emergency under the railroad tracks, the project up there.
Right.
It was supposed to be hydro seeded. The original contractor, their hydro seeding did not take. So this is the company that came in to redo it. There's a
So-
lot of other story that goes on behind this, but this is getting paid out of the retainage left over from that project, so that's gonna be pass-through money.
And they already done the project? or
Yes,
The hottest, driest?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So when
They-
it fails again, who's
Yeah.
paying for it the next time?
I brought that up, and I was told that there was something that they put in or they mixed in with the seed so that it was mulched and seeded and everything, so it would survive the heat.
Well, it'll just lay there until it gets
I
ample
have a
moisture.
suspicion- I have a suspicion that's the case.
That's what the hydro seeding, they mix and mulch with it.
Well,
But I'm surprised they picked this time, not spring or fall to do it.
I brought it up, and people who said no, that they do that and they know how to do it. And it's like, okay, so if it doesn't take, we will have the second company come back and redo it.
Yeah, okay, that's the, and the hydro seeding, that's how much, 6,332
yeah.
for that little lot?
It was about 4 or 5 acres. It was that, but then it was all the way down
Oh, okay.
along the easement to the railroad
Oh,
track.
because of the
Oh.
how much dirt we disturbed with
Yeah.
the overland aqueduct system.
So no, that was not
They'll
just.
sign us up for the hydro seeding. Okay, well, that makes, even still. But, okay.
When they did the road project by my house, I had some little young whippersnapper from fresh out of WSU. I said, best not seed this. I'm not watering it next to the ground. Oh, it'll be fine because we're using natural grasses. Da 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 da. You can go look at who was right. So we'll.
It was the other
It looked good on
whippersnapper.
paper, Stephen. that's
Yeah.
good.
They come out of college and they know everything.
I have food for thought. I mean, I see occasionally here, the mayor, mostly the mayor, gets reimbursed for restroom supplies, trash bags, and so forth and so on. And I think I mentioned this a few years ago, but there's a company in Spokane, Walter E. Nelson. I could email you his information here. But they get an account there. Since we're in the janitorial, we're responsible for a little more now than we used to. That they supply that, paper, towels, list of, sanitizers, the Perel, the little, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
It's for all that. And, as to what your concern was about reimbursing all the time, if we were set up an account with these guys and when we need something whistle and
Did they deliver?
I don't know that answer.
Because that's where the benefit, I mean,
Right.
I'm at Costco anyway.
Costco
So-
will deliver. order online.
Yes.
But they're
But
probably.
the city doesn't have a
Yeah.
membership.
Oh, but this is what they, oh, come on. I'll just forward it to you if you have any problem, but I mean,
I mean, it's no skin off my nose. I mean, I try to keep it as slow as minimum. I mean, there was one time that came up where they needed all the plumbing equipment, and I had to go there in person with the list and literally a bucket of parts and say, here,
yeah,
replace this. And it's not always convenient, though. I think the one time I took the credit card with me, so we didn't go down this path, was the same time that it was needed here. So it created a conundrum of where's
Right.
the card?
well, I was just looking for some kind of uniform consistency that you know, doesn't overburden you or whomever goes and gets
So,
it, and it's,
I'm going, like I said, I'm going to Costco
Yeah.
anywhere and anyway, and pretty consistently, they've got the better prices for that bulk stuff than you're gonna get from Amazon and everywhere else.
that would have to be, yeah,
But I think that some of the core of this is credit card issuance.
yeah.
If Joe had a credit card that was in his name under the city's account that had certain limits, if we could limit and say there's, you know, he can't spend more than $200 at a particular go or at these stores or something like that, he could have that card with him instead of having to check in and out a credit card that is everybody's, and then Donna has to look at the list and be like, okay, this was the library purchase and this was at this purchase. And then, like, if it came in already categorized by, you know, it was the Public Works credit card. Therefore, everything that comes in on that should be associated with
Right.
Public Works. It's a tech credit card. Everything on that is a tech charge. You know, that kind of thing.
And for that matter, I mean, I think we could just get a second credit card for the mayor, and it could just live here with the other one. I just take it
That's
with
true.
me. I mean, like I said, I'm at Costco anyway, although it can't, actually, that's the other problem with Costco, it can't be a credit card.
Yeah. Well, they do take credit cards if they're a Visa.
Yeah, it'll take.
You can get a Chase credit
Or
card.
a
and
debit,
they'll-
one of the two. I
and they'll
can't
give you-
remember.
They take
You
debit
can get their
cards. They take
Citibank
any
one.
debit card,
Well, Chase has got, and you get points back on it too.
but then you're buying a membership.
But,
No, I've got a Chase credit card and I use it all the time. I don't have a membership there, but you can use it. Use your credit card, and then Chase gives you points.
I think
through the credit card company
I think they're
itself.
supposed to take
Yeah.
any Visa, but you would have to show your membership.
Right, yeah. Which, I don't think that matters. But if they take, I don't know, what, is our card, is our Wheatland card a Visa or?
MasterCard or debit or what the hell.
I'm pretty sure it's a Visa. I can
It should
look.
be a Visa.
Okay.
Well, you know, but my main concern, you know, that
It's a Visa.
this place is like a candy store of janitorial supplies. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
array of stuff that Costco wouldn't carry, but it's up to you. If it's a thought, you know.
Yeah.
What's the other one? URM?
That's for more
Food
That's-
stuff.
That's more food.
Okay.
I go there too every week, so.
So as long as you pick up a sleeve of jerky for us at Costco.
They sell ribeye
Yeah.
loins, the whole thing.
At
Cut my own
URM?
Yeah, cut my own steaks. Anyway,
Well, that's just
I'll
my
look into
consensus.
that. I think our credit card protocols allow for a card for the mayor to begin with. We'd have to double check that,
Okay.
Mhm.
so. Okay.
As per lease, the utility bill for Johnson Towing. What the heck?
Because our lease stipulates that we will pay for the garbage.
I was gonna say, it has to be garbage, yeah.
Yeah, so we have to write a check to ourselves
That's
to
okay.
pay
I'm
that
just
bill.
looking over your shoulder.
Sure. Okay, and Anatech, again, what's with the, it's not the same all the time, wham, wham, and not a huge disparity, but. Is it a different person doing it each time? Okay, that's all I have to say about those. Did you want to look at that a little
No,
closer?
I saw it, so if you're through it, I'll take it.
Sure. So, I think we're, I'm good with it, so,
Okay.
I'm fine.
We have no further discussion on the claims. All in favor, say
You wanna
aye.
see that?
Aye.
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 Okay. Mayor's comments. Got three things. I'm gonna hit weed control. Our weeds have grown a little bit out of control around the city. That was kind of put on hold overall because of the whole water thing, being able to apply water. This week, they were getting significantly out of control and unsightly, so I've got our public works going through areas where you can't put Roundup on things like around the water buildings and what have you, and have them knock them down with a weed whacker. And then they're putting Roundup or a weed killer on the stuff that they can. So if you just look around here, you'll see the gutters are clear again and what have you. So he spent this week
If you want to take
tidying up the
that.
place. So, we have, I need advice from you guys. The old well and shaft, the piping is worthless, but the shaft was made out of stainless steel. And it is now down there in 12-foot sections, probably about an inch thick. Now, I don't know anything about scrap metal, but I have a sneaking suspicion that stainless steel as scrap probably has some reasonable value. Do you guys know?
I don't know what the price is, but I could call up,
No.
the recycling place in Spokane.
I just took a load of scrap, 2 55-gallon barrels of good cast metal, like cultivator sweeps. I mean, $68.
Probably didn't pay your fuel.
It's ridiculous.
I
I've got a bunch of copper tubing I need to take from my house, so
So anyway,
I don't know. Stainless is definitely worth more.
Yeah, so I'm gonna work on getting our, in our space down there, we've got the entirety of the former Willis water line crumpled up in pieces. And then, of course, the former water pipe that was our well, all of that's gonna get hauled off, probably to Lincoln County Solid Waste.
Any of that, is it stainless or which?
No, it's literally the shaft that drives the
How big is it?
probably an inch.
Oh, okay.
It's
Solid?
100, yeah. It's probably in 100+ feet of it.
Well, you
Solid
want-
shaft, huh?
64 cents a pound.
Stainless,
Yeah.
solid shafting like that, yeah.
Oh, that was January 2022.
Well, prices have gone up.
I know what it'd probably be to buy it.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Astronomical.
my goal is to take that in see if we can get a couple of shekels back for it.
So 100, it's about 100 feet long, inch in diameter, solid. E-
Sounds like
Would
an
the
interesting piece of metal.
Would the cost of taking it out of the ground foreshadow that? Any amount of money that you would get?
Well, it's already out. Is what I'm
Oh, it
saying.
is out?
Yeah, it's already out and it's laying down in that yard.
Oh,
So, basically, the tube, that tube that I sent you, well, if you look at, in one of the pictures, you'll see a kind of a carrier off in the distance. So about every 10 feet or so, there was just a carrier bearing that shaft went down, all the way
Through.
down. So when they pulled the whole thing, it all came out, but they cut the tube, and then they had to cut that shaft separately. So they're already separated. They just have to be collected and taken in, so. I'm gonna take it in and see if we can get a couple of bucks to help offset this. So, if you guys told me, oh, no one takes that, it's worthless, then I wouldn't bother.
Well, I wouldn't say it's worthless.
yeah,
So,
not stainless.
okay.
Is it American Recycling?
American Recycling, yes. And there's another one, Dixon's,
Yeah.
another one. But I'm just thinking, anybody, we don't have a fabrication shop here anymore, so it's cut up in 8-foot, 10-foot lengths or whatever. If there's any value to machining or any, I can't think of right now. I've never put it on a lathe, so I couldn't tell
Make a
you.
new flagpole with it.
You certainly could. Does Public Works, do they have a use for it, for making anything?
I'll make sure that they don't before we make it disappear. I mean, for all we know, we could cut it up into smaller lengths and use it as a
Probably
roller.
or anything,
Or, just a,
pins.
skid row. So. Okay, last on my list is, we talked briefly during the workshop about ordinances. So I wanted to let you know that I got 3 valuable pearls of information out of it when I started doing some more research. So the one in question that I read to you is Ordinance 179. And I told you guys I would let you know if that was the only thing in that ordinance, and it is. Basically, anybody, right now, anybody guilty of committing an offense against our ordinances is guilty of a misdemeanor. That can go away in its entirety. I believe it's ordinance 180, when it was done, was an ordinance that was adopting basically the illegal drug code. It was like the universal drug. Basically, it adopted the state's standard
Okay.
for illegal drug use. It does not belong in our city codes. It may have in 1978, but in today's, and the way they litigate and the way our codes are written, it doesn't belong. So next meeting, I'll be bringing to you a new ordinance that basically repeal those two with explanations why. So I just wanted to give you the heads up on that. The third thing that came out of it is basically when we look at our ordinances on a big sweep of everything, the only thing that should be in our city ordinances are things that apply towards city issues. So to your point, having an ordinance that says don't park in the direction against the traffic, we don't need to put that in there because that's already a state ordinance. Or it's already
RCW.
already started it, yeah, the RCWs. So we don't want to have anything in our codes that mirrors
Redundant.
redundant
Yeah.
with any county or state, because it creates a problem for the prosecutor to take it anywhere. So.
Well, the
this-
other, what I was gonna say, excuse me, the situation is though that if somebody is committing this infraction and the police don't do anything about it because they're just cruising through town, there's nobody that's gonna be able to do anything about that particular law, or whether it be RCW or the WAC.
So that goes to law enforcement, and that's gonna be a separate issue on how to get that enforced.
Call up and complain, I guess.
Something along
No,
those
they,
lines.
trust me, they don't care.
So, right now, if we had a cocaine dealer standing on the corner and they got popped, well, that is against state law. It's also against our Harrington City Code ordinances. Hypothetically, they could be charged under the Harrington City
Mhm.
law. And then we have to prosecute it, and we have to pay for it, and we have to do all this stuff. Now, it's not gonna go down that path, but that's the problem with having the redundancy. So, this is gonna be a process that I'm kinda committed to find these areas. Those were the two easiest hanging fruit that I found, because that was the only thing involved in that ordinance. It was the drug thing, it was the misdemeanor thing, so those are easy to just take out of the books. It'll be a little more complicated when we go through something that it's addressing all these issues. Junk cars may be one of them, and then we find that that's in conflict, or that's in comparison or redundant to the state RCW, so we'll have to figure out a way to how to navigate through that. So, that was
Well, sounds like you have a handle on it. Or started to.
low hanging fruit, like I said. I'm finding the easy ones first. So, that's all I had.
Okay, Levi.
Well, I don't want,
We don't have any public comments.
I've got something I want to say.
Oh, Chris, go ahead.
I don't.
Did you want to adjourn the
I make a
meeting?
motion
Yes.
to adjourn.
Okay.
all those in favor?
Oh, I'll
Or second?
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. They're